Welcome gamers, Hazardor here, and today I'm going to review Titanfall 2. First of all, let's go over the campaign, which was actually really impressive. I didn't expect much from the story mode, but I was very pleasantly surprised that this turned out to be actually very good. The first thing I noticed that was really impressive to me was the pacing of the story. You play as someone called Jack Cooper, and you are either in the game you are either in a Titan or walking around as infantry, playing as Jack Cooper himself. And I think the differences between time played in the Titan and time played on foot is so perfectly done. And I think just overall the pacing of the campaign is so good. It's not just all out action like the multiplayer is. There are of course some set pieces in the game, some parts where you have to go balls deep and just play really over the top gameplay. There are some sequences as well where you have to sit back in your Titan and sort of take a lot of damage and try and take out other Titans. I think it just plays out very well, and I'm so impressed that you're not just sitting in a Titan all through the campaign or just running around aimlessly. The boss battles themselves in the game are quite impressive as well. They're not massively challenging or anything like that, but they're just a good addition to the game and change up the gameplay a little bit. And the enemies in general, they are very diverse from each other. You can take on humans, you can take on robots, you can take on slightly bigger robots, like not quite Titan size but sort of bigger than a normal robot. Then you can take on normal Titans, and then you can take on bosses. There are also dinosaurs in this game as well. I mean, who would have thought it, hey? Dinosaurs in Titanfall. It's a bit weird, but it just changes up the gameplay and keeps everything really fresh. There's so much enemy diversity, and yes, they are a bit dumb. They don't really play like a real person should, and they're pretty easy to kill most of the time. But you know, this is a campaign. You're not expecting a massive challenge, are you? As for the gameplay in the campaign, I've got no problems whatsoever. It's just so smooth, from the wall running to the gun shooting to the Titan controls. Everything just plays out pretty much perfectly, and that is probably a word I'd use to describe the Titanfall 2 campaign. Pretty much perfect. Of course, the graphics as well, they're just absolutely amazing. You don't really expect anything less from a game from EA, do you? They're always visually pleasing, but that doesn't mean we can't praise them. There were also other things in the campaign that pleasantly surprised me. For example, there were puzzles in the game. You had to control a crane and move about different parts of walls and stuff, so you could traverse to different areas of the map and progress forward. There were also collectibles that you could pick up, which were kind of fun to do as well, and the campaign is definitely worth playing. I'm not sure if it's worth buying on the campaign alone, but you definitely want to play it and just not just concentrate on the multiplayer aspects of the game. As for the negatives of the campaign, I've kind of mentioned them already. There's poor character development apart from BT, and it's just kind of short as well. It took me just over 4 hours to complete the campaign, and I honestly would have preferred 6, 7, maybe even an 8-hour long campaign to fully flesh out characters and just keep it really interesting. But I'm not too sure EA could have done this and Respawn Entertainment. I think that's why it was kind of short, because they couldn't keep it entertaining for that long without repeating certain set pieces or gameplay mechanics. Moving on to the multiplayer, which is probably the main reason you're buying this game. I mean, first impressions are, wow, this is a real multiplayer game. The main pulling point of the multiplayer is that it is so fast paced. And for some people, for example people who come from a Battlefield background who like to play games more slower paced and concentrate more on teamwork, may not like this aspect of the game because it is so fast paced, and probably the most fast paced game I've ever played. There's wall running, everybody's just sliding about, there's very quick time to kill. You can't, I mean, 1 second you're alive, then you're dead, you spawn again, you die, spawn, die all the time, and that might sound kind of like a negative thing, but it's honestly not. This game is meant for fast paced gameplay, and it definitely does deliver that. The maps that we have available to us are just solid. I mean, they're nothing special, they're nothing like massively memorable like a Call of Duty map, like let's say a Nuketown or Rust or something like that, and it's nothing compared to that level, but you can see the maps are created for fast paced gameplay. As for the weapons themselves, there's a very good variety of weapons in the game. Pistols, submachine guns, light machine guns, assault rifles, snipers, and you know, you've got it all. There's massive amounts of customization for these weapons as well, which is something I've been very impressed by as well. You have camos, you have attachments, you have camos for your Titan as well, with different attachments for them as well. You have booster packs, there's so much things to unlock, and it just makes you feel very rewarded when you're leveling up. The one thing that separates Titanfall 2 from basically Call of Duty is that there are Titans in the game, and the Titan gameplay is even better than the pilot gameplay in my opinion. But when you get in a Titan, you feel powerful, but you're not overpowered whatsoever, and that does nicely bring me on to balance in the game. Everything's so balanced. There's not a specific weapon that's overpowered, or Titans aren't too overpowered. Even if you're on foot, you can take Titans out pretty comfortably. However, there are a few negatives in the multiplayer as well. The first thing, which I've already mentioned, is that it only caters to one sort of gameplay or one type of way to win the match, which is just run and gun. You have to run out there with a submachine gun or a shotgun, be really fast paced to win the match. It's not like on battlefields where you have different classes. For example, some people defend, some attack, some snipe, some take out vehicles. I mean, that could have been quite interesting in Titanfall. Specific classes to take out the Titans, some to attack objectives, some to sit back sniping, but it's not in the game. It's only really meant for people who like fast paced action, and that is going to deter a lot of people away from the game. Another thing that I wasn't too happy with was the game modes that we had. There are a few really good game modes, but there are some specific ones that just don't really fit in the match, or the game I mean, to be honest. There's one which is just Titans versus Titans. It's sort of like search and destroy with Titans, and it's not fast paced at all. People just sort of camp and go around in twos in their Titans, and that just doesn't feel like Titanfall at all. It feels really boring in my opinion, and there are only a few game modes that really do feel like this game should be played. The final thing I wanted to mention that I don't really like about the multiplayer is that, let's be honest, there's no teamwork in this game. Everybody just runs about, caring about themselves, getting kills, capping objectives, and there is a little way that there could be a lot of teamwork. For example, you can pick up batteries and put them in your friendly Titans to make sure their health is stayed up, but no one really does that. Everybody just cares about themselves. But Titanfall 2, I mean, everything else, it does it pretty well, so this is a really great multiplayer. My final verdict is that Titanfall gets an 8 out of 10. But anyway guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe for more.